What's the scariest experience you've ever been through? I was chased through the woods by a stranger with a bat, hell-bent on beating my brains in. I jumped in a river, held my breath, and sunk to the bottom. I let the current of the river take me as far as I could until I needed another breath of air. When I came up, I couldn't see him anymore. Crossed the river and hid in the woods until it got dark and hiked home. Drowning. I was jumping off some high rocks into a river. It was a place in the town I grew up in that everyone knew. One day I somehow got turned around in the water after hitting and swam down. When I realized and turned around, I was too deep to make it up. About 8 feet down, I inhaled water. It burned and was cold at the same time. I could feel the pain in my ears as I tried to exhale the water. I don't remember surfacing, my friends pulling me to shore, or coughing up all the water. I was in a hospital for months because of something else. Couldn't get up and had already lost a ton of weight, which made me severely underweight. Then caught some kind of virus. The doctors couldn't even figure out what it was. It got weaker every day. I couldn't eat or drink and vomited all the time. At some point, what I spat out was entirely black, probably dried blood. I can hardly remember that time of my life. Looking in the mirror and seeing my bloodshot eyes where all the veins popped in my chin and neck with burns from the acidity and stomach fluid, and my skinny arms and ribs was horrifying. I think I was around 14 at the time and was sure I'd die. It went on for days and then just stopped. We thought it was that the hospital virus that happens sometimes, but apparently it wasn't. Still don't know what happened and how I survived. When I was 10, nearly being electrocuted, I was standing on my skateboard in the garage. Almost lost my balance, so I put one hand on the washer and another on the freezer. The current locked me up. I couldn't let go. I was stuck there in pain until my mom saw that something was wrong and knocked me loose. If not for her, I'd be dead. My parents bought new appliances after that. My mother woke me up in the middle of the night to tell me she had been robbed and stabbed. I had to stay with her while paramedics arrived, helped her, cleaned her wound, and put pressure on it. After she was taken to the hospital, the cops told me it was most likely self-inflicted. I will never forget the feeling I had when she told me and the sight of it. I will also never forget the feeling of being told my mother was suicidal to the point of stabbing herself. One of the most terrifying, troubling nights of my life, and unfortunately I have more stories that are wildly similar to that. Edit, I was 14. At about 10 years old, I fell through ice on a pond. When I came back up, I smacked into ice, instead of the hole I fell through. Water was too murky to see any light from the hole, and I thought that I was witnessing the end of my short life. I was lucky to find the opening again, but as I tried to get back up, the ice kept breaking and I'd go under again. The whole event probably lasted 30 seconds, but to me, it was a lifetime. It's been 35 years and I'm still nervous on a frozen body of water, even if cars and trucks are driving on it. My friend's boyfriend calling me near tears from where he was working in another state to beg me to go to their house because my friend had just told him she had taken a bunch of pills. I've never booked it across town so fast in my life. I wound up calling an ambulance upon finding my friend conscious but barely coherent. He wound up being put on a 72-hour hold and was ultimately okay. But damn, it was a terrifying experience. It took me several months before I stopped flashing back to hearing his voice on the phone. I was about 8 and slipped on a slippery rock in a small canyon with a rushing river. I remember being slammed against boulders and trying to claw my way from the freezing current. My mom was screaming and running alongside the river trying to throw a long dog leash to me, but she wasn't fast enough. I was swept downstream until I luckily got hung up on another boulder. Thankfully, I managed to take these hits with my body and not my head. It gave my mom the chance to throw me the line and pull me out. We were camping in a remote area, and I probably should have gone to the hospital because I know now I was clearly in shock. My hands and legs were all cut up from the rocks, and I needed to be wrapped in a sleeping bag and put beside the fire where I shivered for hours.